What's up, everyone? NanMan here. I hope you guys have been enjoying our sprinkling of no ban list content that we've been putting up. Our shop has been awesome about saying, hey, month of July, we're going to do a no ban list. You can play with proxies if you want. So we've been seeing a nice mix of things like Twin, like Summer Bloom or Bloom Titan, some affinity lists. We've been seeing a whole bunch of different decks in there. There was a what was that? The Dark Depths deck that was running around. But a lot of people that have been commenting or talking about the kind of no ban list side of things, they're going, well, the best decks in a no ban list are Hogak. If you're not playing Hogak, you're doing it wrong, right? Or, oh, why aren't you playing Storm? Storm is one of the best decks. Or why aren't you playing, XYZ deck, right? Whatever deck you're going to be playing. Well, part of it is some of these players that we've got at our shop are newer to the game, and they've not played during the old days where Hogak was a thing. They were not playing during the time when Affinity was a top deck in the meta, and they weren't playing during Eldrazi Winter, and they weren't playing, so a lot of the older players, myself included, were like, well, I just want to play Twin. I miss playing Twin. I'm just going to play my Twin deck again and just update it for 2024 meta and go into that. So it's not as hardcore of a, like, this is a we're going in, we're playing for keeps, and we're playing the best deck and just crushing everybody's hopes and dreams. We're more of having fun and testing out and seeing how things work, and we get to experience things like this, like the Prowess matchup versus Twin, because there are some players that have gotten cards and go, oh, I'm going to play Prowess, and I'll put Gataxian Probe, and I'll do these like free spells in here. I'll put Treasure Cruise in my Prowess list. And then there's others that are going, well, I just want to play my list. All right, we'll see. Just like Hardened Scales, just being like, yeah, I just want to play Hardened Scales this week, or oh, I just want to play my Gruul Prowess or my Izzet Prowess list. So we do have a lot more Prowess players and Hardened Scales players at our shop than other shops, and that's kind of where sideboarding and stuff like that comes in and has a big impact and matters when it comes to Magic. Is adapt your sideboards to your shop. So like when you see deck lists and stuff that we have posted up on our Moxfiled link and in the description, you can see some things that you go, why are they running this in their sideboard, or why is this card in their main board? Part of it is you adapt and you adjust your deck list to the areas that you play the most at. Like, it's very different sideboards in a LGS weekly event compared to an RCQ, compared to going to a large SCG event. Things like that do impact the card choices that players are picking. But so right now we've got things set up in here. Izzet Twin versus Izzet Prowess. All Izzet all the time here. There are some other no ban list stuff we've got to be able to show you guys. We've got some Infect. We've got some Bloom Titans in here in the future. There is a recording of an Affinity list that I got to get through and edit. There's so many games to edit and record for y'all, because of course we do all of the little images that you guys get to see on the screen. And in the case where I mess up a little bit with the camera placement going into the match, we don't get to see the life totals, and then I have to go through and adjust the life totals for each of it. So we do see the debate about the slick shot here. So this is an interesting debate. Do you push it out and go for extra damage here, hard cast it, or do you go for the plot aspect and exile it and cast it later on for the price of for free? In this case, we kind of get blown out with it, but the Prowess lists are very interesting and feel, it's an explosive deck. You go out there and you burst down your opponent in very quick, powerful swings. Having our slick shot show off there, it makes things crazy, and your gameplay changes and just how quickly you can win the game. So like there's a couple of decks that feel the same way, of like, oh, this is like night and day difference on when I have a slick shot in my matches versus when I don't. All right, just because of the +2 power that you get off it compared to just the +1. swings things very quickly and puts a very heavy clock. Now, my Izzet list is a little bit. My Izzet Twin list is a little bit different than the previous Twin list that we got to see on camera. That was running Ponders and treasure cruises and things like that. I'm running dig through times. I'm running the Twin package, 3 Splinter Twins, 3 Pestermite, 3 Deceiver, and 2 dig through times. I don't remember if I said 2. So I basically have slotted those directly into my Izzet Wizard list of 2024. So you'll see things like there's an energy package in my list, and there's these, like, my list is very control-y. It's like, is it control with a combo in there? Like, that's how I'm going to close out the game. So it is a little bit different in that regard of how the previous versions or other versions, and that's the fun part. There's so many cards that are out now compared to when Twin was illegal that it's like, oh, I can really start to adjust this and build this in a very specific way. Expressive iteration getting used here for our Izzet Prowess player. Going to start setting up. It's always great. You want to be able to throw a land in that exile pile. You want to be able to throw a Mh3 Bauble, something that you can guarantee cast basically for the price of for free, and then you're going to get some good cards added to your hand. And this is like a nice setup turn for the Prowess player. Like they're staring down like a land go player, very control oriented. So they're like, they want to be able to land a threat and be able to just close out the game. The whole goal of my Twin gameplay is to just counter and removal spells and target specific threats that I'm worried about. Slick Shot is the #1 card that you need to be worried about if you're fighting against a Prowess list, regardless of whether it's Izzet, regardless of whether it's Gruul, regardless of whether it's mono red, right? You can play any of those 3 versions of Prowess right now. They're all viable and they all work. So this is a little interesting thing here. A bolt comes down right now, and now we get to go, oh, here's a Pestermite. A bolt was going towards face. So again, this is the first time maybe the player had experienced this. They also didn't get information to know what deck they're playing against yet, right? They're just going, okay, you're playing burn spells, you're countering my stuff. All right, what else do you have? And now the jig is up. Pestermite is here. Let's untap some stuff on turn 3 and turn 4 in classic Twin fashion. Fetch, shock, attempt to activate this lovely little Splinter Twin. Now, Pestermite is a little bit risky in today's meta compared to Deceiver because of the 1 toughness, but that's okay. So now we're going through and explaining it. The way it works, if you've never seen it, Splinter Twin makes a copy of Pestermite because you have to tap it to do that. Then Pestermite, the copy comes in, will untap Splinter Twin, allowing you to continue to make a million copies and swing in and defeat your opponent. And the Prowess player is joking, and now it's eternalized on YouTube for everyone to see me losing to Twin. And that's the other downside. It's like if you're playing a more traditional classic, hey, this is a deck that's viable in Modern right now versus a deck that is banned, you're going to have a tough time or something like that. But now the player knows, oh, okay, I might want to keep my Lightning Bolts if they go for a Pestermite win, right, compared to, going for the face there. All right, so we'd see 2 Slick Shots in hand. 1 land. We've got the Bobble allowing us to get some information, getting us to draw cards. So we'll do a little bit of setup here. So what would be your deck that you would play at a no ban list? If proxies were allowed, would you just go, I'm just going to go straight in on the Hogak, I'm going for the W? Would you go for like, oh, I played Eldrazi during Eldrazi Winter, I want to play that again? Would you just go for something off the wall like Dark Depths combo? Would you go for some Jitte shenanigans and just, it's nice to see some decks out there that are like, yeah, this card doesn't really need to be banned. It's not like everybody was talking to me about, hey, are you playing Blazing Shoal Infect? And it's like, Blazing Shoal is not a good card. Yeah, you know, Blazing Shoal was good when Modern first came out, and players didn't have the tools to interact and deal with a Blazing Shoal infect. Nowadays, you just run regular infect and throw in Gitaxian probes and Once Upon a Times, and you know, call it a day with that. But like, it is interesting. It is interesting to see what players. You know, the way the ban list is set up, and you know, there's a lot of discussion around the ban list with Nadu and things like that. We'll see what happens with it. You know, we know something's gonna get banned at some point, but it's gonna be not until August. No emergency bans. So now our Izzet Prowess player is getting hurt here in the missing land drops, so they're gonna have to be really. They've got removal like in hand. They've got these interactions, so they're gonna be doing what they can. They basically just need an island here, and then their whole game plan can start coming online. Like if they can get an island or a second mountain, they could just start hiding away and go, okay, slick shots go away, slick shot go away, and just kind of take a little bit of a slow turn, and then just go for kind of an OTK game plan. You know, one turn kill, I'll just explode out and just really dump stuff. All right, now we got to land. But again, you're fighting against a draw go control list, essentially, that's goal is to try to counter out your stuff. Again, we're prioritizing, focusing on the slick shots when we want to counter things. We're not trying to use removal on our opponent's turn. We're trying to save that for our turn or after combat. You know, it's the infect mentality. You don't want to start blasting and shooting things during combat because they could start pumping it and doing things to interact with you. So it's a little bit harder for the Izzet Prowess because a lot of their stuff is sorcery speed, with the exception of like bolts and lava darts and things like that. But it's like one of those, okay, we can set up and prepare for it anyway. All right. Land go, everybody. Land go. You might be being like, okay, what is your hand full of? My hand is full of counter spells, probably. If there's nothing worth doing yet. So we get some more surveil lands going. All right, sending the expressive to the bottom. All right, so we're in this debate here. All right, there's an expressive in hand. You've already played your land, so you probably don't want to play the expressive now. But setting up with this is really nice. All right, preordain, scry 2, draw a card. Again, we talked about it. Lots of sorcery speed stuff for the Izzet Prowess compared to like a Gruul Prowess list. So understanding how these decks work will help you if you're going to be going to your local stores or playing online or anything like that to kind of understand and learn Modern. All right, make sure you place them in the right order. Right, scrying 2. I'm joking. Order matters. It does matter a lot. All right, draw off the preordain. We've got, of course, our prowess popping up here, so it's already got 2 power. So we drew the Dragon Rage Channeler here. Artifact, sorcery, creature. 3. Yeah, so just need a land or an instant. And we'd say, nope, we're not going to give you another threat. So the deck, the Izzet Twin list, or just like even Izzet Wizard, doesn't do as well against Dragon Rage Channeler because of the evasiveness that it gets from the flying and the value that it gets from being able to surveil. If you're running a Underworld Breach package, having Dragon Rage Channeler is very powerful of just getting more fuel in your graveyard so you can be able to continue to cast your spells from your graveyard. Surveil is a very powerful mechanic, especially in Modern. You'll see on both sides, both players are running Surveil lands. It's kind of become the norm. We've talked about it in previous videos that some of the Surveil lands are even gone up in price to cost more than some of the reprinted fetch lands. So getting distracted by onlookers at the shop, but all right, another land go for the Twin. That's the thing. It's like I don't remember. I want to say we're running Preordains in the list. We're running the energy draw a spell, but for the most part, it's like just counter spells going on. Oh, yeah. Another Prowess player came up and was chatting about his game there. Yeah, this night I was playing Izzet Twin and ended up fighting against 3 different Prowess decks. There's another expressive iteration. Again, sorcery speed setup card here. Looking probably for another land here to be able to utilize. Again, the hand's full. Oh, is that 2 Underworld Breaches? 2 Underworld Breaches, 2 Slick Shot show-offs here. All right, 1 to the bottom. Land to exile, 1 to hand. That's the way it's set up. So we're assuming the land's going to go there, so we can just cast our land for turn. Bam. Let's do some more surveilling. And that was another key thing of having more surveil lands in a Prowess list like this again makes sense because of the Underworld Breaches. But my Izzet Wizard or my Twin list only runs 2 surveil lands. It's kind of up in the air on numbers that you might need. I'm not running an Underworld Breach package in mine, so I don't really need to worry about having additional surveil stuff. But there's a setup here, you can push for damage. Still that kind of risky thing of committing to the bolt, but we'll see. The other Prowess players talking about, hey, Counterspell's a really good card. That used to be a remand back in the day. It did. For all those that don't remember the days of, hey, return that spell to your hand and I'm going to draw a card. All right, big push for damage here. And then talking about how Prowess triggers are assumed. That's one of those things that, back in the day, Prowess, when cons first came out, it was set up that it's hey, you could miss this trigger if you're not paying attention and tracking it and understanding how much Prowess is there. All right. Now it's it's an evergreen mechanic that's there all the time, that it doesn't matter. It's there. We know it's there. All right, first Slick Shot getting plotted here. Yeah, another player showed up to the shop that was late, so everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're actually here. The second one plotted. So yeah, we're setting up now. It's the big setup turn. We're gonna have a huge payout probably next turn. We got 4 mana to work with here, and just try to like eliminate our opponent all in one turn, right? Just a big boom explosion. All right. Lots of mana. I'm gonna, let's see, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 essentially to work with. Opponent's tapped out. If we had both the pieces, this would be like the coast is clear. Our opponent is tapped out. The defenses are good to go, where we just need to dig and draw for stuff, and we don't have our dig through time, or maybe we're close to it here. Checking. Okay, there's 5 cards in hand. And we know that there are the double slick shots there. So we're in this position of, okay, we don't have the combo, or we would just combo and win there. So we're in this spot of, okay, we need enough to stop the slick shots from killing us. I think we had a Pestermite or a Deceiver, but no Twin at that point. The Blood Moon doesn't really impact anything. Yeah, so double checking. Which are basic? These are all non-basics. Give you a bunch of mountains. Still have the double blue available. Now, the Blood Moon would basically stop counter spells from happening, or force a counter spell to happen. But we're going to try out the double slick shot cast, and we've got a response of double counter spell to shut them down, which is a really like blanket, hey, you know, pay 4 mana, prevent me from dying to slick shot this turn. Because if any of those resolve, I know I'm dead. Right? I'm at 7 or 6, somewhere in that, you know. Keeping track of the life totals can be tough, and sometimes you make mistakes with that, so. All right, so what can we piece together here to make stuff work? We have a Swift Spear still. We have a Through the Breach. Not Through the Breach. Underworld Breach. Until I just casted a Through the Breach game. Underworld Breach resolves. All right, so now our prowess player was like, oh, I did this in the wrong order. So this is one of those things that sequencing is extremely important, and it's very nice to play a prowess deck because you really appreciate and learn how important sequencing is and how much it matters, because, you know, we're missing out on one extra prowess trigger here by, you know, having the Underworld Breach come later. But we're going to start out with a Bauble. We'll just kind of shred and get rid of some of the stuff in our graveyard. So now we're just going to determine which lists, how we're going to look at, who's top card. Looks like a Snapcaster on top there. All right, so we've cast Mh3 Bauble twice, giving us 2 additional prowess triggers. Alright, still fuel to get rid of stuff. Now, one thing that would be really nice to have here is a lava dart. So we're doing the lava bolt or lightning bolt to sit here. Yeah, so I missed a point of damage somewhere. I went to 3. I know it was just at 7 and took 3 to go to 3, but I must have missed a fetch or something. Ah, okay, so we do have the Pestermite. But before damage, we're going to tap that down to not die.
But you're supposed to let me. No way.
The Prowess player's like, you're supposed to let me kill you. No free deaths. No excuses. Play like a champ. Get that W, right? No, it's good to sit here and, like, especially if you're just practicing and learning, you can be like, all right, you know, this is another one of those things that it's like, if you are playing again, oh, there's the lava dart. So if they did not cast, no, that still put me to 1, right? Ah, there's the twin. Okay, all right. So it's still that, like, hey, if you're playing against if you're playing regular, like regular modern against like just Izzet Wizards, I would be dead there, right? Because Pestermite would not have been able to flash in and tap that. I would have just died. So it's like one of those, well, just the kind of downside of let's make a million creatures and win here. Creatures that aren't played normally in Modern because Twin doesn't exist, because it's banned, so you have to kind of, nobody runs Pestermite and Deceivers. I would love for Smelter Twin to become unbanned because I would just run this Izzet Twin list again. It's very fun. I like it a lot. I might do some more special no-ban stuff at some point where we can do a little bit more higher-powered, crazier stuff. Let's see Hogak versus this. I mean, Hogak's going to run the table no matter what, so it's like, I don't know. But there's, of course, our little sprinkling of no-ban list stuff. We're going to be having more of that coming up in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this content, enjoyed the matches that we're going to be showing you. We'll be, of course, showing you more action every Monday and Thursday over here on NanMan's Nerd Corner. But thanks so much for tuning in, watching, everybody, and I'll see you all next game.